Why not?
So if you happen to be watching the things that are unfolding in this country right now, and you're asking yourself, why would Donald Trump be doing this? Here's why. He wants unrest. He wants people to be unruly. He wants chaos because he wants to be able to look at that and say, hey, you know what? We can't have elections. There's too much chaos in the streets right now. This guy is not trying to preserve democracy. He's trying to stop it. And that is why he is sending armed ICE agents and Border Patrol agents into non-border states to find what he is calling, illegal immigrants or, gang members or whatever. And he's only doing this in blue states and in blue cities. Recently, they sent ICE agents into an apartment complex in a lower economic area. They went in there. They were ransacking people's apartments, arresting anyone who they pulled out of there. There were people saying they saw kids being pulled out naked, being pulled out zip-tied, adults pulled out in their underwear, people who were American citizens being pulled out, handcuffed, zip-tied, and detained for hours. One man, a 67-year-old black man, said, I'm an American citizen. They said, do you have any warrants? He said, no. They said, asked him questions. The guy is an American citizen who has no type of criminal history or anything like that. They still treated him like a criminal. He was handcuffed, zip-tied, on the ground, detained for hours. They busted into these people's homes at something like midnight, 1 a.m. Some of these people were detained 3, 4, 5 hours. They had done absolutely nothing wrong. They did all of this all under the guise of, well, we're going after these criminal gang members, so this is what we have to do. I always talk to my students about things that fly in poorer neighborhoods that would never fly in richer neighborhoods, in affluent neighborhoods. Like I talked to them about, if you live in a poorer neighborhood, like the neighborhood I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, you will see a lot of corner stores, liquor stores basically. And those liquor stores will have a lot of liquor advertisements and cigarette advertisements on the walls or on the glass doors leading into those stores. You would never see that in affluent areas because those people would revolt and they would be listened to because they live in an affluent area. Same with this. You're going to watch a few clips here of Scott Jennings on CNN. They always have him on this panel, and I swear to you guys right now, they could never have me on that panel. I've watched Adam Mockler there, and I've watched him do a good job. I've watched Bahimi, and you're going to see him in this clip too, and I've watched them do a great job. I just don't think I could sit there with Scott Jennings and listen to him say the things that he says without just cussing him out or just straight up calling him out like big time. Because you're going to listen to him try to justify all of these things that were happening. They're going to lay it out for him, and he's going to try to justify all of these things when he knows damn good and well, if that were to happen in his neighborhood, in an affluent neighborhood, that shit would not fly. These people would not allow ICE agents and Border Patrol agents to just come through their neighborhood, grabbing everyone out because they're looking for 1 or 2 gang members. And you're going to also hear Scott talking about 37 people were arrested. 37 Tren de Aragua people were arrested. He doesn't know that for sure. He just knows 37 people were arrested. They were going through there grabbing people, arresting people. It didn't matter if they were a part of that gang or not. They might have had a warrant or whatever. They were arresting people. So when he's saying they took 37, hard criminals off the street, he doesn't know that. And there's no way that would fly in any affluent neighborhood at all.
They were all black. And I'm going to say something. We saw this coming. Mm-hmm. We knew the neighborhoods where these ICE raids would take place. We knew that a lot of these things wouldn't happen in Beverly Hills or in Coconut Grove or any of those places like that. We knew that there would be collateral damage, that there would be trauma that would be inflicted on our communities. We knew that people would be detained, scared. We knew that children would have to see things that they shouldn't have to see. And all of this for political theater so that we look tough on immigration for everyone. It's a horror show. And I do think if it hasn't already happened, that it'll be something that even the most conservative of Americans will get tired of seeing human beings treated this way. At least that's my hope.
One neighbor said the kids were crying. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they were bringing kids down too, had them zip tied to each other, saying that there were trucks, military-style vans used to separate adults from kids.
Well, one detail that's been left out is that they were targeting Tren de Aragua. And so Tren de Aragua is a violent transnational gang. They send illegal immigrants here to the United States. They traffic drugs, they traffic people, they commit violence. They inflict misery everywhere they go. And 37 people were arrested. That was the purpose of the raid, the targeting of Tren de Aragua, some of the most violent people in our hemisphere. And when they come here, nothing good happens. That was
okay, so if it was targeting, when you clear out an apartment building and you zip tie children and you arrest and detain everyone, Scott, hold on, Scott, you and me, we're talking here, okay? If they arrest children, they arrest everyone, citizens and non-citizens, for hours, detain them, deprive them of their liberty, for no matter how long. You are fine with that.
They didn't arrest children. But
I didn't say they arrested them. They put them in zip ties. But if that makes a difference to you, go ahead.
Here's what makes a difference to me. If the federal government knows that there is a nest of Tren de Aragua in a city like Chicago, they have a responsibility. They have an obligation to go get them. It is unfortunate, to answer your question, that there are children put in harm's way by these violent gangs. But that is going to be the reality.
Or is it unfortunate or is it a violation of their rights, is the question? Because, I mean, in this country, we have rights against searches and illegal searches and seizure.
You're suggesting these children should be effectively human shields for Tren de Aragua, and I don't agree.
The ratings on this show must be great, and that's the reason why they keep on having Scott Jennings on. Because he can't answer the simplest shit. It seems to me like you could be a bootlicker for the Republican Party. You could be a bootlicker for Donald Trump. And you can still say they shouldn't have zip-tied a bunch of kids. There's no reason for them to zip tie kids. They were going in there looking for adult criminals. They should have arrested them and left the kids alone. They shouldn't have gone through everyone's apartment. They should have gone to the apartments where they know the people that they're looking for actually live. The fact that they went into other people's apartments and ransacked them and then took their kids out, naked or not, zip tied them, that shouldn't be happening. But Scott Jennings can't even say that. And you're going to watch them ask him a bunch of different scenarios. It's actually pretty hard to watch. It's hard to watch someone sit there and have absolutely no empathy for people. And here's the reason why. One, he's a bootlicker for the Republican Party. And two, he doesn't care because it's black and brown people. Understand that. This is racism. If this were to happen in Beverly Hills, Orange County, any rich area of Chicago that is mostly populated by white people, Scott Jennings would be on the other side of this argument. These are the same people who were mad at the police officers on January 6th for using any force on a bunch of criminals who stormed the Capitol in order to try to change election results. This is racism.
Hold on, I want to make it clear. I know that Tren de Aragua and gangs and whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want, to go in there and shred the Constitution or whatever else it is that you want to do. What I'm asking you is this. Do you think that children should have been zip-tied and pulled out of an apartment complex and traumatized like that? Yes or no?
I don't think children should be put in harm's way by transnational gangs.
Just answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think that children...
I don't accept the premise of your question.
I'm asking
the
you
government's not putting children in harm's way. Tren de Aragua...
Real calm now. Real calm. Like
they're the ones putting children in harm's way.
Gentlemen and gentlemen, we have a responsibility for the way we treat people with the power that we have here in America. And we have a standard that we should treat human life with. And I'm asking you very clearly, concisely, should children be treated that way? Does Scott Jennings like that?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
All right, cool.
I don't believe that the premise of your question is accurate. I would ask you back. Should children be allowed to live in an apartment building with Tren de Aragua? Should the entire community of Chicago have to live with Tren de Aragua because they hide behind these children?
But here's the thing.
That's my question.
I think the answer.
Every single one of us watching this right now is Van Lathan. We're all just frustrated. We're just sitting here. We're listening to this man try to justify what they did. it seems like being able to just say, yeah, Van, you're right. They shouldn't have zip tied those kids. Kids shouldn't be treated that way. But also, kids shouldn't have to live in an apartment where Tren de Aragua is. Why can't he say that? It is these people are so pathetic. And I swear you could just see the frustration on Van's face. And he's probably sitting there thinking, I'm never coming on this show with this guy again. Because when we talk about debating in good faith or arguing in good faith, that's not what's happening here. There's no good faith argument happening here because Scott Jennings is just trying his best to toe the line.
It's clear. No, they should not be put in harm's way. But the difference is in this situation is I don't want to be Tren de Aragua. I don't want my law enforcement to act like Tren de Aragua. That is the distinction.
You don't want to leave it? Do you just want to leave it and say, well, they have kids in there, let's just move on?
No, but can't law enforcement figure out a way? I don't think this is the first time children have been in an environment where dangerous people have been around them. And I'm most certain that in most of those circumstances, those children aren't zip tied and carried out like animals. What I am wondering is, okay, let's put this fact pattern on any other placement. Let's put it on a school, right? What if there was a gang member in a school? And by this calculation, it would seem like the children in the school, in order to get that one gang member or two gang members, would get.
It's not one gang member. It's 37
well,
people in an apartment
let's say there's
building.
It's a large apartment building. That's part of the fact pattern here. I mean, here's another one from our reporting. Tenants said it appears everyone in the building was detained by federal officers, including U.S. citizens. It was scary, said one, because I had never had a gun in my face. That person lives in the building. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? I told them, no, I didn't. Fisher, this person says, she was handcuffed anyway before being released around 3 a.m. and was told anyone with outstanding warrants, even if it was unrelated to immigration, would not be released. So people live in apartment buildings all over this country.
I promise that.
Is that where wait a second. Should I just go to an apartment building and hide?
Wait. I'm talking about the way that citizen of this country was treated. By the way, I just want to be clear. I think that everybody that's created in the image of God should be treated with respect. And I thought that part of the American ideal was that, but that's gone. I promise y'all will still be invited to Mar-a-Lago if you say that it is wrong that children were zip tied and that American people, American citizens, were detained without any warrant or suspicion.
Briefly detained? In an effort to get 37 Tren de Aragua members?
So tell me.
What you're suggesting is that no enforcement can take place.
Would you be okay being detained so that the gang members, would you be okay with your rights being violated and you be held until 3 a.m. with your family member not knowing why? Is that okay? Because that's not okay with me.
Everybody here seems to believe that if you're Tren de Aragua, you can go hide in an apartment building, and because there are other people there, you just get to be left alone. That is not a reasonable enforcement position.
So first of all, he keeps bringing up these 37 Tren de Aragua gang members who were detained. There's not one article that I've read yet that confirms that all 37 of the people who were detained were Tren de Aragua gang members. Some of those people were just caught up in it all. Some of them may have had warrants for other things, but no one is saying that all 37 of those people were Tren de Aragua gang members. However, he also keeps on continuing with this straw man argument that no one is making. He keeps saying, you guys act like if they're Tren de Aragua and they live in an apartment building, they shouldn't be able to go in there and get them. No one's saying that. They're saying, go in there and get those people. Don't put a gun in the face of an American citizen who has committed no crimes at all. Don't take children out of their homes and zip tie them and pull them out, some of them naked. Don't take adults from their homes, pulling them out in their underwear naked, zip tying them and detaining them for hours just so you can get other people. And then have those people go back to their homes, have their homes completely destroyed, all of their stuff thrown around everywhere. One person said they walked through the halls of the apartment complex and they could see people's birth certificates and important paperwork just everywhere. You're talking, this is not the first time, as the young lady on there said, that they've had to go into an apartment complex or into someone's home to get someone, and they didn't have to arrest everyone that was there. This was absolutely unnecessary. And I have to go back to what I said at the beginning of this. This is because Donald Trump wants unrest. He wants chaos in the streets. He wants to be able to point to the chaos. He wants to be able to point to the unrest. And he wants to be able to say, we can't hold elections because there's too much chaos in the streets. Because again, he is not trying to preserve democracy. He is trying to stop it. This is all about Donald Trump keeping himself and Republicans in power. This is authoritarianism. This is a dictatorship. We are not waiting for it to happen. We are watching it happen in front of our eyes right now. A lot of these things we were saying before the election happened. We said a lot of the stuff is in Project 2025. We heard Donald Trump making jokes about it. We heard him after he was elected, sitting in the Oval Office, making jokes about, oh, so if we're at war, that means we can't have elections. That means that I would have to stay president. We heard Steve Bannon saying there are ways for Donald Trump to stay president. And people were, and news people would ask, how would that be? Oh, don't worry about it. There's just ways for him to get a third term. We've heard all of this. We talked about it before the election, and people didn't listen to it. And I hope Van Lathan is right, but I just don't think he is. He said earlier in this show that he said that he's hoping that even the most conservative people in America looks at this and gets tired of it. I don't know if I see that happening. I see a lot of these people cheering it on because it's not happening to them. You see the most conservative among us in the right-wing part of the party are very racist white people. They see this happening to black and brown people. What makes you think they're going to get tired of seeing that? They haven't gotten tired of seeing it yet. We've been seeing this for years. We've seen this under Donald Trump's first presidency. We've seen this during the Biden administration. We've seen black and brown people be treated poorly by police officers, and we have yet to see conservative people get tired of it. So I don't see that happening. I just don't. But if you're wondering why this is going on, it's because Donald Trump would like to stay in power. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.